Ladies and gentlemen, the college football season is right around the corner. And there's a lot of new teams and new conferences with realignment. And so today I'm going to do my best of preseason predictions. So the top is the red, which is the top, is college football playoff contenders. The right below is conference contenders. And then below that is divisional contenders. Then the next one's above average, and then average, and then bottom of the conferences. So those are the ranks that I'm going to try to put these teams in to see what's going to happen accordingly. So let's start with Florida. It's either they have good recruiting every year. They're always one of the better teams, but I'm going to say we'll put them at above average, like 8-5, 7-5. They can't compete with all these teams in the SEC. Same with Mizzo. No, I'll put them divisional contenders because they had a great year last year. But again, with the realignment, Texas, Oklahoma coming in, there's too many teams. All right, they're gonna be average. Oregon State, no DJ Uiagalelei, lost a lot of guys. They're not gonna be that good. Texas A&M, I'll say above average. No more John Fisher. I mean, not John Fisher. Hold on, that's the A center. I forget the coach's name, but he's gone, and which is a good thing for them. I think they have some talent, but they're just not a top team. Wake Forest, they're gonna be awful this season. I'm sorry, they're gonna be terrible. They were bad last year. They'll be terrible this year. Bold prediction: South Carolina. I think they have a great receiver coming in. They have a lot of young talent, and I really think that they're gonna make some noise. The Vandy boys, I like them. Nice stadium renovation. But they're not going to be good at football. This isn't their sport. They can stay at the bottom. Next is Arizona State. Same with them. They're not going to be good this year. I see nothing good for them. Arizona's next. They're loaded. They have a top 10 draft pick receiver. They have a lot of young talent. And they're going to be really, just a lot of experienced talent, I should say. They're going to be a top contender in the Big 12. Next, Arkansas, maybe 8-5. I mean, 8-4 at best. Nice bowl game, but they're not a top team. And here's Auburn. I want to say they're gonna have a year where they kind of get back on their feet, but there's too many teams, so I can't put them higher. Alabama, division contenders. They're not. They don't have Nick Saban. They don't have. But they have Jalen Monroe. They have some good guys, but a lot of people left, and I don't know. I mean, you could put them in conference contenders, even college football playoff contenders, but I can't. Next, Baylor. They'll have a better year than last year, but that's not saying much. They're not going to be very good. Boston College. They're getting a couple guys, a couple new recruits, but they're not going to be good. Their recruiting isn't bad, though, for a small ACC school. Cal. They're going to be bad this year. Conference realignment. All their away games are on the East Coast. I don't see them doing well. Clemson. I'm going to say conference contenders, not CCP contenders because, well, they lost Will Shipley. They do have Kate Klubnik, which he's one of the better quarterbacks in college football, but I don't know. That's a lot. The best one there is for the best of the best teams, and they have a shot. They're going to make the playoffs probably, but next one. Colorado, division contender. Ooh, division contenders, divisional contenders. They're not going to be. I mean, they have Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, but Travis Hunter's going to get hurt. Shedeur Sanders is going to be questionable. They'll be good. Next, Duke. Manny Diaz, their head coach from Penn State, so he was their defensive coordinator, so they should be average, best. Florida State, they're going to be good this year. That's between. Yeah, you got to say college football playoff contender. Georgia, Carson Beck QB, Kirby Smart head coach. They're my favorite to win it all. Pretty much everybody's favorite. Georgia Tech, they play in a week against Florida State in Dublin, Ireland, so you check that game out. They're going to be all right. Average. Illinois, yeah. Oh, that's supposed to be Illinois. They lost a lot of their players. They lost the best defensive player. They're not going to be good. Indiana, I'll be nice and put them in average. They're never that good. Iowa State. They're not gonna be anything above average. 7-5, maybe a Holiday Bowl. Not even that. You could be better than 7-5 for a Holiday Bowl, but yeah, Iowa. I'd say above average. They're gonna be good, but they're not gonna compete with Oregon and all these new. Washington won't be good, but USC and UCLA, they're not gonna fare out well. Kansas State. I want to like this team. They have a lot of new recruits, but they lost their quarterback. They're going to be average. You know what? I'll say above average. The Big 12 is weak. They could, yeah. I mean, I would say divisional contender, but I don't like their roster as much as here. Kansas, they're a good ball club. They're definitely a contender for the division. They are well coached. They have a good fan base. Obviously, they play at Arrowhead Stadium because their football stadium is being renovated on. So I'll pull for Kansas. I like them. They're a good school. Kentucky, above average. They're not going to be good this year. I mean, they're going to be good, but they're not going to compete with all these new teams. Texas and Oklahoma. Louisville, I'm going to put them at conference contenders. I think they can win the ACC. They're my fourth team behind FSU, Clemson, and Miami. LSU, conference contender. I think they can do it. They always have a loaded roster, loaded receiver. They always have talent. The recruiting staff's second to none. I really trust them. I think they're going to be good this year. Maryland, they lost their quarterback. They're not going to be good this year. Miami. I want to put them in conference. CCP contenders. I know there's 12 teams in the playoffs this year, but I just want to limit it to a couple. They have probably a top 5 recruiting team this year. Their recruiting is amazing, second to none. I don't know why for Miami. I mean, they used to be really good, but they could be a powerhouse again. We'll see. Michigan State, they'll have a better year than last year, but they're going to be average, maybe 6-6. Michigan, yeah, they're. Oh, what did I keep? Hold on, sorry. They lost John Harbaugh. They do have Donovan Edwards coming back. They do have some good defensive pieces. Their new coach is okay, but they're not gonna make any noise this year. They might make the playoffs at that, like a 10th seed maybe. Minnesota now, well, above average. They'll make a nice bowl game. Mississippi State, kind of the same thing. They're a well-run organization, but they can't play with the big boys. NC State, I'll put them as a contender, division contender. They're always well coached. They lost a lot of good players, but I think they can be good this year. Nebraska, I want to say they're going to be. This is their year. I'll put them above average, maybe 7-5, at best 8-4. They're not going to be good this year. Interesting to see about Northwestern. They're going to play in that makeshift stadium because Ryan Field got tore down. They're building a new the new Ryan Field. So interesting, and they'll play at Wrigley Field for a game. So that'll be interesting to see. Notre Dame, absolutely. Well, they're going to win their division. They're independent, so I'll put them on. They can win it all. Honestly, I mean they're an underdog, but I like Notre Dame. I like their roster. They have a good shot in a pretty. They basically play the ACC teams. They have a really doable schedule. Ohio State, hate to say it, they got the quarterback from K-State. He's really good. This is Ryan Day's time to shine. Michigan's gonna take a little downfall. They have to capitalize if Ryan Day wants to keep his job. Oklahoma State, they're gonna be real good this year. That I forget his name, but they have a Heisman candidate at running back. They're gonna be good this year. Oklahoma. I don't see him being a conference contender. Divisional contender. They're good. They just played in the SEC, so. Same with Ole Miss. Well, no, I'm going to say conference contender. They're going to be really good this year. They're going to be a top 10 team. I really like the recruiting, like the coach. They're going to be good. Oregon. College football playoff. We'll just call this national championship contender right here. These are the top teams are the threats to win it all. Dylan Gabriel could be a Heisman candidate. Probably will be for Oregon. They're loaded this year, honestly. Let's face it. My Nittany Lions. I'm doing it. No, I can't do it. We had really good recruiting this year. Drew Aller's a good quarterback. We got a really good running back duo. Some good defensive pieces that stay in that we recruited. We have a chance, but I can't put us at CFP contenders yet because we haven't been there yet. Pitt. I'll say average, to be nice. I'm going to go to a game this year. I like Pitt, but they're not going to be good. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have... I should put them at bottom of the conference, but I'm gonna put them at average. Purdue, They're going to be bad. Let's be real. They don't have much of anything. Rutgers, I'll put them in average. They might make like a 6-6 bowl game. They're not going to be very good. Stanford, I'm going to say probably about the same. They're going to be just good enough to not be bottom of the conferences. Actually, no. They're going to go in the bottom of the conference. Stanford's horrible. Syracuse, Kyle McCord, the old Ohio State quarterback. They should be average. They should be okay. I mean, that's a plus for Syracuse, a quarterback like that. You know, I mean, he's not good enough for Ohio State, but he's sure good enough for Syracuse. So we'll see. TCU, they're going to be terrible. Sonny Dykes is a good coach, but I don't see it. They don't have a lot of good recruiting. I like TCU, but they had a magical year 2022, but it's not going to work out. Tennessee, I'll be nice and say conference contender. I like their roster, but they're not going to win anything. But I'll still put them there because they're still pretty loaded. Texas Tech, average. I think they'll have actually, I'm going to say above average. I think they'll have a decent year. Texas, hook 'em horns, Quinn Ewers coming back. Obviously, no Xavier Worthy, but they have a great coach. He's one of the best coaches in college football. I love their coach. And they're going to be really good this year. UCLA. I want to say above average. Might make a nice bowl game. UNC, divisional contenders. They're going to have a nice bowl game. They're going to look good, but they don't have Drake May. They don't have... I mean, I think they'll be good, but they're not going to be anything special. USC, same thing. They're ranked 25th now. The Big Ten. Conference contenders. They'll be good, but they're not going to be that good. Let's be real. Utah. I'm saying it. Putting them there because I think Cam Rising's back because he got to pretty much redshirt that whatever year he was on. He was hurt the whole time. They're going to be good. They have a great defense, well coached, good defensive coordinator. They're going to be really good this year. They could win the Big 12. And, I mean, they're a legit contender. Virginia, 5 wins best. They're not going to be very good at all. Virginia Tech, I want to say they're on the rise a little bit. I'll be nice and say divisional contender. They're not going to win the ACC, but I like to say they'll be decent. They'll make a bowl game, maybe 7-8 wins. Washington State, well, in the Pac-2, Oregon State and Washington State. I'll say, well, they're both really conference contenders because there's only 2 of them, but I'm gonna put them in. I'll still be average. Maybe yeah. No, above average. I think they'll be ranked for a period of time and then they'll kind of die down a little bit. Washington, I'm gonna say strictly average. They're not gonna have a good year at all. Maybe 7 wins. So I'll say above average, but just barely because they made it to the national championship. But they're not gonna be. They're gonna take a downgrade. No Michael Penix. No Roma Dunze. Lost their head coach. They lost everybody really. That coach went to Alabama. They're gonna be a mess. Mountaineers. I'm gonna say it, divisional contender. I like their roster. There's a buzz going on in Morgantown, and I think they can be good this year. I really do. I mean, Penn State, they're gonna lose that week 1, but they have a fairly doable schedule. It's difficult, but it's doable. I mean, they might come out 8-4, 9-3 if they're lucky, but they have a good roster. Hunter Green's a good quarterback, and Wisconsin. Above average. They're not going to be a division contender. They're not going to get past Oregon. Oregon. Well, they might. I mean, I don't see any. Maybe USC might be ahead of them. I'll put them in divisional contenders. They could be a dark horse for a Big Ten championship game, but it's probably going to go to Oregon. Well, I know that SMU and all these new teams and UCF aren't in there, but these are the main Power 5 teams before realignment. So these are the teams that everybody cares about. So I'm sorry I didn't have everybody. But there you have it. Here's my predictions of the teams that I found. Who's going to be good, who's not, and who has a chance. All right, thank you for watching.